What it do, crypto brothers and sisters? It's your boy, Crypto Bro 9000, back at you with another segment of that OG Crypto Funk. It's all good on my end, and I hope things are sweet with you. You know what? I feel we are living in a world of maxis. They're everywhere. I'm convinced they're overrunning the space. They're just doing a little too much. Senator Loomis, she done fixed a little bill, got her a few co-sponsors, reworked it, and now she's reintroducing it again. So here we go. They're not gonna let it go. Check it out.
These are my comments on the United States Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. Next slide. The Strategic Bitcoin Reserve was introduced by Senator Lummis at Bitcoin Nashville. At that point, the outcome of the election was uncertain. If it had been a split Congress, if it had not been a red wave, it would have been a challenge. This was unclear 10 days ago, but today you have a pro-Bitcoin White House, pro-Bitcoin House of Reps, and a pro-Bitcoin Senate, and a pro-Bitcoin senator that has made her mission to accomplish this. And her bill calls for 1 million Bitcoin to be purchased by the United States government over 5 years.
So this is what Senator Loomis is doing. She's reintroducing the bill on the strength of the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. And now they're trying to make it where they can spend $1 million over the course of 5 years to buy more Bitcoin. And the reason they're doing this is because the whales are trapped. How can you get exit liquidity if you hold millions, let alone hundreds of millions of Bitcoin? Out here buying $90,000 Bitcoins. See, these fools have painted themselves into a corner, and they want the government to help them buy more Bitcoin for the strategic reserve. This is crypto welfare. Government assistance by any other name is still welfare. And they need any and every government in the world to help them buy this shitcoin. This is why they want it to be in the reserve by itself. Exclusivity. A lot of people in Trump's staff are Bitcoin maxis and Bitcoin millionaires. So this exclusivity benefits them.
I have one last question for you before I let you go. How rich are you? And how much of your net worth is in Bitcoin? Because if I don't ask you, everyone will be really mad at me.
If you took my stake in my public companies, which is public, and you did the public math, you'd see a couple of $1 billion.
Okay.
Okay. And then at least a couple of $1 billion. And then you'd have, what's Cantor worth? Yeah, I'm not saying. Okay. But things are good for me. How about that? Is that a nice way to say it? Since Cantor owns the stakes in the other companies, it's good for me. So, and I have
the percentage. You don't have to say exact number, but how do you think about either you or Cantor?
I don't have a big enough percentage. I probably have, no, I can't say it because then people can figure out the amount and how much I have. I would say I have hundreds of millions of dollars.
Okay.
Okay, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars exposure to Bitcoin. And it will be billions.
I was going to say, so next year when you come back, and we'll do this again, and you'll be a Bitcoin billionaire. And
yeah, but you remember that model I told you? So if every time Bitcoin dips, I'm going to be the buyer.
You know who that was. Chief of Commerce, Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, Bitcoin millionaire. I'm telling you, man, they're all in the space. You can only imagine the desperation. Let's say they sell off gradually. We're gonna gradually sell it, the Bitcoin. But if a lot of whales sell off at the same time, that will still affect the market. And on top of that, what about the value? while one well sells, gonna go down because they're selling so much. Well, what about the next well? Like, they're gonna do it one at a time, right? It's not gonna happen. The value of the Bitcoin will decrease even more. And then eventually, someone will be left holding the bag. And usually, that will usually be somebody of the retail sector. But isn't it always that way? It would be probably one of those investors with about $5,000 worth of Bitcoin. Once it gets a certain level and no whales will buy in anymore, where will the value come in? So you already see the writings on the wall for all those to see. And there will be no more greater fools. And it will go the way of every other meme coin. Because meme coins do what meme coins do. Bitcoin was designed to be a decentralized digital currency, free from government and free from government control and intervention. Seeking government assistance contradicts this core principle. Would government buying in bulk artificially inflate Bitcoin's price and create an imbalance in the market? What about the speculative bubbles and even more volatility? Like, could there be any more in Bitcoin? They say they wouldn't use taxpayer money when they put this reserve together. They said they wouldn't use the taxpayer money to support Bitcoin. And it would only, if they do this, it would only benefit the plutocrats. Could over-the-counter work? Could OTC work? I could see it happening to a degree, but would it be sold at the true cost? And why would anybody even buy a failing asset where you'd have to sell it over the counter to just get it? Because you don't want to affect the market. So you'd probably sell it cheaper. Once you sell it to someone cheap, will that person have to sell it to someone even cheaper? And so on and so forth until again, the value is basically gone. The CEO of Franklin Templeton, Jenny Johnson, and as you can see, they filed for an XRP ETF a few days ago, says that Bitcoin is the distraction to the biggest disruption of the financial system. And it is. All you ever hear about is Bitcoin, and if you're discussing crypto with anyone, Bitcoin is most likely going to be brought up. Mentioning Bitcoin to a vet like me is like bringing up my ex. Yeah, I used to be with her. She was my first, so that don't count. You know what I'm saying? Don't hold that against me. Wait a minute. You say you saw her in 5th Ward on the corner of Jensen and Lounge? Tricking for green candles? Oh, yeah. I heard that Black Rock was pimping her out.
That one of the best opportunities now is cryptocurrencies, though crypto has had some problems. What do you tell people that say they want to be in cryptocurrencies? Do you offer the opportunity for people to invest in crypto through Franklin Templeton?
Yes, I certainly do. So, first of all, I always say that Bitcoin is the greatest distraction from the greatest disruption that is happening in financial services today. So I wish, because every time everybody gets in a conversation about crypto, it leads into a conversation about whether this currency, whether it's Dogecoin or Bitcoin, is of value. Forget that. That's like a religion. You either get a believer or a non-believer, and they're never going to agree.
Here we are again. More delusion. Senator Loomis. A milli must see. Senator urges the USA to liquidate all gold reserves and invest in Bitcoin. What kind of stupid ass shit is that? They're after that extra liquidity so bad that they're willing to sell gold to buy Bitcoin. Man, you don't sell your for show money for your I don't know money. And this is how deep the scheme and scam is. From Black Swan Capitalist, Vandale Black Swan Capitalist, Catherine Austin Fitz, an investment banker and former HUD official, breaks down the real agenda behind it all. Fitz says that Bitcoin is as a massive Ponzi scheme engineered to fuel an elite U.S. land grab, just as I warned. It's not about making America great again. It's about making billionaires trillionaires. Yet they suppress her voice and give Bitcoin maxis a media spotlight. I've been telling you all for years, can you connect the dots?
You and I have been talking about what's going on in the world. We know that what states need to do, number one, is invest in science and technology. Invest in ending chronic illness among children so those children can grow up and have high IQs and lead us in science and technology and make sure we have as many smart engineers as China, right? We know we need to invest in reindustrializing in our country because trade economics are changing, and now it's much more attractive to do things locally or regionally that we used to ship in from abroad. So what we export and what we import is changing, and we need to invest in that. Why in the world, in the middle of having to make all these really important strategic investments, would you have anybody buy into a Ponzi scheme? Well, here's why. About 2% of the holders of Bitcoin own and control, last I looked, about 70% of the outstanding Bitcoin. You have huge concentration of the early investors. Now, what would they like to do? They'd like to get out of Bitcoin and into real assets like gold, like land, like real estate. But, you know, if you look at how thin the market is, it's a tiny market still. If they try and get out, they're going to trash the market, right? How are they going to get out? Well, if you mandate federal and state purchases, you're driving liquidity way up and you're driving the price up. Now, what are you going to do with that money? Well, we know from listening to the trial balloons what they'd love to do. The federal government, according to Howard Lutnick, the new incoming Secretary of Commerce, hasn't been confirmed yet, keeps talking about $500 trillion worth of land and mineral resources that the U.S. government owns. If you can drive Bitcoin to the moon and you can set up swaps for real estate that are tax-free and you can do them on a secret basis, guess what? You can bail out your Bitcoin, swap it into all the land and real estate, and you can end up owning huge pieces of the federal land in some of the western states that have a lot of federal land. Right?
That's where you think this is going.
It's a land grab.
Wow.
What they want is they want the real assets. And the federal and state governments own the real assets. Wyoming, Idaho, Alaska, Utah, all these states have huge, beautiful, magnificent land assets. Magnificent, right? You know, and if you can swap those for crypto assets that you create out of thin air, wow.
Yeah, wow. I mean, you have Kevin Costner out west. This is some of the most beautiful land that I've ever seen.
Right.
Ding, 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 ding.
Right. So if you privatize the management or the ownership of those assets, you're talking a great, I have one friend who says, it's not Make America Great Again, it's MBT. I said, what's MBT? She said, Make Billionaires Trillionaires. You're talking about creating a whole new round of Rothschilds and Rockefellers with fortunes like this. This is a plunder capitalism, potentially like nothing I have ever seen before. And I've seen a lot of plunder capitalism, as you know. But this makes the mortgage, the guys who did the mortgage fraud are doubling.
That's it. I'm going to wrap this on up. But before I go, I want to ask the question. Why go through all that? Swapping for government land. Do yourself a favor and just parlay the Bitcoins and the stablecoins. They're secure, they retain value, and mitigate the volatility seen in Bitcoin, lower transaction fees, faster settlement times than Bitcoin, but it's not faster than Bitcoin. So it could be any country stablecoin. We don't care. Just don't be out here trying to get government assistance, being on welfare. Bitcoin. Billionaires are always asking for handouts. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps like Horatio Alger. Stop asking for handouts. Trump says a person has to work 30 hours a week to get government assistance. Well, you guys work slow. Hit that like button, smash it, because you know you want to smash 9,000.